All right, welcome back to the Cinemadix podcast. I'm your host, Nick.
I'm Ryan.
And today, we have a few things that we want to talk about. Specifically, we want to start with practical versus digital effects, meaning physical effects that are made on set and digital effects that are made after, being like CGI and etc. And kind of what the difference is and what kind of directors do the best and what maybe we want to see in the future.
Yeah. We posted on Instagram today about Nolan's Odyssey coming up, and the thing going around right now is his Cyclops animatronic that he's using, and that just got us thinking about the use of practical effects and just kind of how it's dwindling in modern cinema today.
It really is. It really is. I mean, most people, especially with the just overall growth in animation. People kind of rely on that a lot. Mm-hmm. And animation has become a very hot topic and very hot style in cinema. For example, the movie Flow and The Wild Robot that were just released this past year. They were both great movies, very popular movies, especially amongst the younger audiences. The new Spider-Mans that are coming out, especially those ones as well, super hot. And again, that is a whole other level of digital effects. However, it takes place in the same category. And what we really like about Christopher Nolan is he doesn't use CGI. He really doesn't. And Oppenheimer was a very clear representation of that.
There's so much in Oppenheimer, too, that you could put together as, obviously that's done with a computer. And Nolan's run through the effects that he did. I mean, it's brilliance, But, on the other hand, there's animation that is just so impressive, especially with movies like Flow and The Wild Robot. I mean, it's like with The Wild Robot, it's still DreamWorks, but they are improving and improving. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Shrek 5, he kind of got a bit of a downgrade, but they know what they're doing, and that's most important. And they made Shrek a little more modern, I guess you could say. Yeah.
And for example, in Oppenheimer, one of the early effects in the movie that was done on set was the atom spirals.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about too.
That was actually done in a fish tank. Mm-hmm. And I'll play the clip of it right here for you guys to look at. But it's a very strategic, well thought out effect that again doesn't need to be wasted on CGI.
No. Mm-hmm.
Being able to do that smaller stuff on set really can make a big difference and be time saving as well.
Yeah, I mean it's something I feel like you definitely could, make with a computer now, and it might have the same exact effect, but I think the magic in filmmaking is doing something new, doing something that you don't have to rely on a computer for. Obviously, with Oppenheimer, in the editing room, the computers touch up a lot. And I'm sure the editors touched up those scenes for sure. But, Christopher Nolan coming up with the idea of we're going to represent what's going on in Robert Oppenheimer's mind right now with a fishbowl, and an immersion blender or whatever, just to spin the atoms around. He's living in this different, parallel of knowledge, and we have to be able to see that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a huge advancement for us in cinema, and huge just advancement for him in general. Like he's able to continue to do that over and over again, and he just gets better at it.
Yeah. No.
And it's an advantage for him as a filmmaker to be able to understand that whole world of practical versus digital.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like when it comes to big budget movies that are guaranteed to be a blockbuster in some respects, Nolan's the man for that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really is.
Without using CGI or these huge explosions. When it's an explosion, he's actually exploding something.
Yeah, and that's something that really keeps filmmaking alive, because if you could just AI everything and you could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, and that's the path we're headed, for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to be able to tell what was made on camera and what was made later in the editing room. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for just again the practicality of filmmaking in general. And Chris probably does it one of the best, if not the best.
I mean, he probably does it the best, because even Denis, he uses special effects. Obviously, with the Dune franchise, he's working off planet, so he kind of has to, include those sandworms and the giant sandstorms coming over the walls and everything. But Christopher Nolan's very dedicated to the use of practical effects, and I think he, picks and chooses his movies to incorporate that.
Other than Christopher Nolan being very practical with his effects, who else do you know that uses?
Well, so I think Francis Ford Coppola was a huge component of practical effects, and obviously in his time, it's so much harder to do digital effects and everything. And I mean, even The Godfather, it's set pieces. It's the immersion of New York that makes it feel so real, right? And it translates to Nolan's work. Denis is another really big component of practical effects too. Steven Spielberg is the king. I don't think we'd have Christopher Nolan without Steven Spielberg. I mean, I would have to say Steven Spielberg probably tops it all. I mean, from a groundbreaking standpoint, definitely.
Yeah,
but
with Jaws,
Jaws. I mean, that was his first big budget, blockbuster movie. I mean, that invented blockbusters. But you could go all the way back to, the 20s with the original Lost World. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's claymation, and that was a huge trend for such a long time. Even today, a new Wallace and Gromit movie just came out. And, the dedication to stop motion in general is, ridiculous. The dedication to creating these clay models of these very iconic characters, that's another level too. I mean, that's the same as the animators of the Spider-Verse movies, so much time and passion put into it, and that's just what makes a good movie overall. But
what about like the Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Oh yeah, I mean Wes Anderson too, dude.
Yeah,
I mean claymation. He hadn't even broken into that realm yet. He had been very successful before Fantastic Mr. Fox, but he was adapting a Roald Dahl book first of all, so he had to take a book and put it onto screen, which he's adapted before, but not like that. And he had to design it in such an appealing but hilarious way. And then, he did Isle of the Dogs in 2016, which is a good movie. It's fun. And, props to Wes Anderson for being able to expand, claymation in general, but his expertise with it. I mean, he had a great run.
Yeah.
He could still get back on track.
He could.
Just stop making these weird movies.
He could. I know. If Wes Anderson just made something normal, something just a little more on pace with everyone else.
Yeah.
I get your style, dude, and I think that he could still incorporate that into a movie that actually goes somewhere.
Right.
That actually allows actors to kind of break out of their comfort zone and have those freak out scenes.
No, definitely. Absolutely.
Just something with a little bit more, again, oomph. But
well, I mean, too, so did you see his Netflix specials?
Yeah, The Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar.
Henry Sugar, Poison, and The Rat Catcher. I didn't see Poison, but I saw Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is good, but, it's nonstop talking, first of all, which is cool, but when it's the entire movie, I just don't really see I don't see the need for it, but I don't also see the appeal to. Why do I want to? Even though it's 30 minutes, why do I want to watch this if they're never going to shut up?
Yeah,
and that's just kind of the barrier he needs to get over. I think. I mean, because he can make a normaler movie. Two of his best movies, Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums, they're much more normal to anything he's made since Grand Budapest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, I like the set design of Grand Budapest, and a lot of that stuff is actually just miniature sets, if you guys didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it's very well done, especially with like the tracking and the panning shots in
effects,
it.
Man.
Again, practical effects, keeping the cinema and cinematic part of it.
Keep the magic there. Don't let the computer always make the magic. We're built to make the magic.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it takes away a bit of the creativity that somebody can actually put onto screen or into a camera, when you can just be like, I'll fix it later, or we're going to add that into the special effects later on. It just, it really, I don't know. It's just not filmmaking in my eyes as much.
No, I totally agree. And something I always thought about too was, I sort of feel bad for the actors. And I know the actors, like, you can go ask Chris Evans if he thought filming all of the Marvel movies was a good experience. He got paid so much money, dude. Of course it was a good experience. But you are surrounded by green screen, or you're surrounded by stuff that just isn't there. Like if you're fighting, Thanos, you're punching a, 8-foot tall, giant. You're not actually fighting. Mm-hmm. You're not fighting Josh Brolin, right? That leaves it up to the actor's imagination, which is a good thing. But how can you not go mad, understanding that you're not even in a space, like you are in a green screen room, and it could be enormous, it could be small,
connected to cables and stuff the whole time.
Mm-hmm. If you're Iron Man, you're lifting off, dude. Yeah, you got to go into the sky.
Yeah, and especially the difference in how the Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire versus Tom Holland were made. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at those behind-the-scene footages, they are completely different. Granted, it's a 20-year gap, but like the way that superhero movies were made back then were a lot more practical effects. I mean, because again, they didn't have the power of CGI as much.
They didn't have the opportunity to really do that, which is, if we want to talk about a generation getting lazy, and it's not necessarily true, but when we have so much, convenience, and it costs a lot less, obviously, especially when you've proven that these could be the, highest grossing movies of all time. I think Endgame is number 2, Yeah.
But I mean, also for a good reason. I mean, they built the hype up for years. They finally connected all the stories together, and then they stacked the cast. I mean, if that movie didn't do as well as it did, it would have gone down in history the other way being being like the worst way to end Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like in general. So, granted, I mean,
these movies have been good for a long time, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marvel was really good for a long time.
They really were. Yeah. But kind of transitioning into the box office. Yeah. Like, Captain America
not doing too hot.
Too hot. And I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. For example, the Hulk scene with the Red Hulk scene.
Yeah.
With Harrison Ford. I mean, they advertise this like it's going to be half the movie.
Right.
When in reality, it's literally like a 10-minute scene.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And you basically see the whole scene in the trailer, too.
Yeah. Like, everything cool that happens. Like, I just heard that there were also gaps, but there were also a few movies that you needed to see before, like Eternals. That was, again, just...
How do you connect Sam Wilson to Captain America? Like, where'd Steve Rogers go?
Yeah. There were a few things in there where, like, you had to see previous movies to be able to understand this, and even then, like, if you didn't watch the TV show of Captain America...
Right, yeah. Or the Hawk, I think.
Yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is German. Right?
Yeah, it's a mess, and I just didn't think he was built. I don't think they should have transitioned Captain America. I think they could have just killed it, left it right then and there, and then, or maybe just picked it up, 10, 15 years down the line with a new actor like they did with Superman or Spider-Man. Like, we don't need to blend the story together and make him the new Captain America just because...
Right.
Like, just for what? I mean, just rewrite it, or just
do
it again. Like,
I mean, I get it's canon and everything, but just don't make it.
Yeah,
it's just. I think we all know we would have been better off without that movie. I mean, sure, there's a bunch of people that'll love Captain America. There are Marvel diehards out there, and respect to them. But the movie, I would say, is just generally considered to be bad, or just not a good Marvel movie. But it's such an obvious decline since Endgame, dude. And that was 2018, man.
Yeah, it's been on a steady down, decline.
I mean, there's not really been an up. Well, Ragnarok came out before Endgame, and Ragnarok is my favorite MCU movie.
Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah,
that
Ragnarok
was great.
is fantastic. Taika Waititi did phenomenal.
Yeah. That one I will give. That one was good. Then the next Thor that came out was terrible.
Love and Thunder, man. I was really disappointed with that one.
Yeah. It really was disappointing. So continuing with Captain America, A Brave New World. Again, I didn't even go and see it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Because and you know, it sucks to say, as especially film enthusiasts and people who love movies, and us doing this podcast, that we haven't gone to see it.
Yeah.
But I've heard so many bad reviews of it. Like, I want to have an opinion of my own, but I already know that I'm going to have a similar opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't need to see it. And again, I'm kind of out of the Marvel world right now, kind of ever since Endgame. You know, I haven't really kept up with many of the TV shows that have come out on Disney+.
No, I think I've only watched, like, 2 of them, too.
Yeah, like... And again, so I've heard some of them are good. I heard the Loki series isn't bad.
Everybody love Loki.
But again, it's just some of this stuff is just kind of it's filler. And I know they're trying to still incorporate Stan Lee's art and like continue to produce his comic books that he's written. But that doesn't mean that every single one that was made needs to be a movie.
Right.
And especially like just trying to throw a big name in there and just try and like money grab,
right?
And just and have low production value, have it be rushed, have it amped up, have 4 cool scenes,
probably
and put them all in the
5 rewrites too, dude.
Yeah, and put them all in the trailer. Right. Put every cool moment in the trailer,
and I know you're like so anti-trailer, which is great for a lot of movies, especially like a Marvel movie where you're going to see the big move at the end of the movie that's supposed to shock everybody that didn't watch the trailer. When, you know, these trailers get millions of views, dude. Everybody knows this scene is going to happen in the movie, right? And they know the context of it. Like, who is he fighting? He's fighting the Red Hulk, dude. That's what this entire movie is going to build up to. You know, I think like Harrison Ford, he had one of the most phenomenal careers, but he's such an annoying actor. Just, you know, he really resents Star Wars and his character in that, but, you know, he's not afraid to make a bag, dude, you know?
No, like, that's the thing. The cash he checked? Check he cashed was unbelievable.
Cash he checked, too, dude.
You know,
he put Marvel in their place. Give me money, you know?
Yeah. And apparently he did all right. He did his job and as playing the president, but
I would have loved to see him as Han Solo more, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
spoiler alert.
I'm glad they killed him off.
Yeah,
go watch Star Wars, dude.
We're not saving you from anything. Just don't watch the sequels.
But what else has done poorly recently in the box office? You said Novocaine.
Novocaine came out last week, and I last I checked, it was up to like almost 9 million, which is still just like pitiful. I mean, I don't know what the budget was. I assume with all of the special effects, it's probably expensive. Jack Quaid is not the cheapest actor in the world at the moment.
Yeah, especially coming off of The Boys.
The Boys, he just did Companion. He was in another movie I forget about. But yeah, I've seen him in like 4 things, you know, within the past year. He was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah. He's Richard Feynman in that, dude. Plays the bongos.
Yeah. Again, it's just he really is. I like how he's diversing himself a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
He's trying.
And I think the problem I saw with Novocaine was, again, I feel like we kind of got the nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
I felt like it was kind of like the same vibe to it, where but Novocaine's like not even a superhero movie, but he just can't feel pain.
Right.
So like
Oh, I don't even know. I haven't
Or-
seen it yet, but it's supposed to be like this, this gore fest essentially, where Jack Quaid just keeps on going through it and going through the motions of getting Deadpooled. You know, he just gets hurt all the time, and that's entertaining too. That's what you would expect to make a big buck in the box office, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But $9 million on opening weekend, that's pretty crazy for no matter the budget with this. You know, he's a big star right now. It's action packed.
I mean, they probably paid him $9 million.
Well, I'm sure he made a lot of money from it too. He's making money right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably not a nepo baby, but he's Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan's son. You know,
I know.
he's built for Hollywood essentially.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so I mean, I think. Well, no, probably Brave New World came out back in February, but Brave New World still is doing worse than Novocaine is. I think Novocaine's at the top with $8.5 million.
Yeah, and that's not even
opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean that just goes to show there's really nothing great coming out right now. We got a few bangers coming up. I mean, I really so. One movie I did like, and I'm not actually exactly sure how it did, but Presence.
I didn't see that.
So Presence is a movie that takes place in a house of a family, and it's all shot through the eyes of the ghost, or I forget what the other word is called. Poltergeist.
It's a good movie too.
And that is actually shot, I believe, on an A9 III Sony camera, which is actually the reason they use that camera specifically is because it has a global shutter. So that means when you're panning back and forth that there's no rattle or there's no unfocus with the panning. So it's able to it's actually a pretty solid cinema camera for.
Was it only shot like that too?
It was shot just on the A9. And that's honestly a lower budget cinema camera, but it actually surprisingly does really, really well in it. And I really like how it is shot. There are a few moments in that movie where time passes and it's not very clear. So they did kind of struggle with that, but I guess it's kind of hard when you're doing it solely through the eyes of a ghost.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of like the ghost kind of like exits the room, and then all of a sudden it's like a couple months later or something like that, and then it's like, oh, did this?
And it doesn't tell you or anything.
Yeah, you're kind of just
shadowing it.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but that movie itself that came out recently, I think did all right. I think that's a Neon movie as well.
Was that the trailer we saw at the end of The Monkey?
Maybe.
No,
maybe.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of this ghost terrorizing a house movie that's coming out, but I don't know.
I can't.
That was supposed to be Oz Perkins' next movie.
Oh yeah.
He was promoting his own movie after his movie. Yeah.
I think another Neon movie that's coming out is Hell of a Summer.
Yeah,
and it's with the kid from Stranger Things, and a few other people. And again, it seems like kind of one of those goofy slashers.
Right. Meanwhile, A24 is making Death of a Unicorn. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Paul Rudd and
Jenna Ortega.
Ortega.
Death of a
Unicorn. Yeah, those. I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
The title alone, dude, is just like so mysterious. Like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
And it's gonna be a weird one. The trailer itself is interesting for sure. Again, seems kind of like a silly horror movie. Yeah. Again.
It'll definitely be thriller. This unicorn's gonna turn evil, and somebody's gonna end up on the horn.
Yeah. So. That'll be an interesting one for A24. We'll see how that one does in the box office.
Yeah, it's got some names. So
what about F1?
What about F1? I've been seeing. Did a trailer come out? I don't. I think a full trailer.
I think there's definitely got to be a trailer.
There's got to be, because I've seen Javier Bardem, obviously Brad Pitt. I forget who the other actor is in that. Oh, there's a couple other actors I'm forgetting, but it's made by the same guys that made Maverick.
Oh.
So I'm expecting some very good...
Is it a Paramount picture?
I imagine.
Okay.
I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, I'd have to look that up. But I'll tell you what, man, I was not that interested when I first heard about it, because now I've got Brad Pitt on my mind. He's won an Oscar. He's just going to go be the cool guy. He's going to do a McConaughey, essentially.
Yeah. He's kind of like his own version of McConaughey.
Yeah. I mean, he could be in anything, and he'll be a stud in it.
Yeah.
You know? When I figured out who was making it, and kind of more the story about it, it's sounding like it's more than just a racing movie too. Yeah. I think
there is going to be some like
Rush,
like more of a
exactly.
more of a
that's my
individualized kind of character study in some way about the development of his character in the racing world.
And I imagine Brad Pitt will be this veteran driver or something like that. I honestly haven't looked anything up about it, but veteran driver trying to teach the next driver, how dangerous it is, and James Hunt says in Rush, you got to know that you could die, essentially. It's a dangerous sport too, and I'm glad there's movies that really promote that. Like, this is a death wish of a sport.
Yeah.
And I think F1 will be exactly like that. It looks brutal too. Yeah.
Something else coming out this summer, right? The new Superman.
Yeah, Superman comes out the day before my birthday, so I probably will see that on my birthday. I'm very excited to see that. And, if I saw if I saw another Iron Man movie coming out with not Robert Downey Jr., I wouldn't be interested in that at all. And we have, patiently sat through the Snyderverse with Superman, and Henry Cavill is as good as it gets as Superman. I mean, he is built for that kind of character. The writing of the Snyderverse is just so flat for me. It's so boring, dude. They have some of the... I would say Man of Steel has one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in my life, too. The initial flight scene. And again, you got Hans Zimmer in the background, which totally sells the scene. And you have Superman basically learning to fly. I can't remember when I got to see that. Most of the time, in a Superman movie, he's young, and he realizes he has powers, and then he's just flying. Superman Returns, he does a Mission Impossible. He just, hovers a foot above the ground. And, he can fly. That's terrific. Good for him. Man of Steel made one of the most, emotional scenes out of Superman learning to fly. Nobody can fly, though. So it's nobody can relate to it. But, first of all, it's Superman. And it's just so good, dude. It's if we could have gotten the whole movie to be like that, that would have been awesome. And I think James Gunn is going to make a very consistent movie with Superman.
And if you don't know who James Gunn is, he's the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
All three,
which have done very well. And some of my personal favorite Marvel movies, especially of the recent years.
3 was fantastic, too.
It was.
Just came out 2 years ago.
It was. Yeah. And it included the first F-bomb in Marvel movies. Yeah, it did.
I didn't even know Marvel had F-bombs. I knew they said it once. I didn't know it was
that was it. Guardians 3 was the first one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but James Gunn, again, has a good eye. I think the soundtrack, if James Gunn has some bit of control over that as well...
Yeah. I'm sure DC is putting all of their faith in James Gunn.
Then I think I think he'll nail it. I think he will.
I was saying it's going to be a very consistent Superman movie. But what James Gunn did for Marvel and really diversify the superheroes, and again, the Guardians of the Galaxy are real, and they have a style that Stan Lee, thought of. James Gunn made one of the best soundtracks in the Marvel movies with songs that aren't his or the movies. It's just a great playlist. I mean, I listen to the Guardians playlist from time to time.
Absolutely. It's saved in my Spotify.
A lot of the songs I listen to regularly. It's a great choice of music. I think if James Gunn has, influence on the score of Superman, it's going to be really good. But even from the trailer, we hear that it's the Superman theme song. He's not changing that. He's manipulating it, which, it's modern, make it a little more with the times and edgier. But I think we're going to have probably 3 very good components out of the Superman movie. That'll make it a really good superhero movie.
Yeah. I mean, you got the director.
You got maybe 4 then, yeah. So you got James Gunn, who's very acclaimed at this point. Superman looks good. I hope he's bulkier in the movie. I don't care if they have to CGI that. Just do not let him be scrawny. You got a great look at the villains so far. I mean, it looks like many villains are going to be in this movie. And the movie just looks fantastic.
It looks good. Like it's shot well. I think it looks like it's shot differently than previous superhero movies.
It preserves the comic bookness of it, which is something like the Batman did with Robert Pattinson, and I think that's the trend now. You have to kind of take away just we want to see explosions, or we want to see, the new Captain America slice a car in half with his wing because he's actually Falcon. We're kind of getting away from those like just slow-mo shots where everything has to be blowing up and there has to be 1,500 extras in there. But just give us a comic book. Give us what we grew up loving and our parents grew up loving. There's so many millennials and baby boomers that don't want to see these new movies because they're not like the comic books necessarily.
And those are some of the original movie goers. Like if I can get my parents to go to the theater to go see a movie, it must be something that they actually want to see. My parents went and saw A Complete Unknown because they wanted to know a little bit more about Bob Dylan. I mean, they kind of grew up on him in that era. It was a little before their time, but
that's why I went to go see it. I wanted to see Timothy, and I wanted to learn about Bob.
Yeah, and again, those are good reasons to get an older audience intrigued in a movie when it's about something, or at least shot a certain way. For example, that movie again about a historical figure that is attractive to an older audience and to newer audiences that don't necessarily know who Bob Dylan is in the first place.
Right, yeah. Think of the popularity he's had the past 3 months, man. Yeah.
But my parents didn't go and see the new Batman.
Really?
My parents know Batman as Michael Keaton.
Right.
And they don't even really know that much about Christian Bale's Batman.
No, that's a shame. Yeah.
I know, and that's a big shame.
Yeah.
Because that to me is Batman. Oh, that's OG Batman.
Yeah, that's the Batman we grew up on.
Yeah,
sure.
And then Robert Pattinson kind of taking it over. I think he's done an excellent job, and I think the way that Matt Reeves has kind of portrayed that Gotham universe is very, very neat and niche.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, dude. Well, it breaks from the mold, especially going off of Christian Bale's Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman was a little darker. He's very monotone, and still haunted by shit. Christian Bale's Batman is a playboy, through and through. He wants to avenge his parents, and he wants Batman to be the symbol. But he's about to give it up to Harvey Dent with the Dark Knight. Whatever, man. No, Gotham needs Batman. But anyway, Batman is a character that's never going to die. I think we're going to continue to see renditions of him because he's popular. And
the comic books were popular.
What Stanley wanted, dude. Yeah, and Stanley didn't do Batman, but
that's what he wanted for his Marvel.
What he was thinking of with superheroes is these are characters that nobody can be, but always want to be. We grew up wanting superpowers. We wanted to be like Spider-Man or Iron Man, or it's very inspirational. I want to talk about Stan Lee a little bit. I don't know if you've heard recent news about him, so.
Why? He's dead.
Well, yeah, but so...
R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Stan Lee, especially right now after this bullshit. So one of his assistants that was with him the last 4 years of his life, and being a driver and taking him to events, and doing all this stuff for him because he was 95 years old when he died, is releasing a documentary about all of the elder abuse that Stan Lee supposedly went through in the last years of his life, which he, first of all has on camera, has not, from what I've heard, released anywhere. So he's trying to make a documentary about it on Kickstarter or something like that, GoFundMe. And he's the way he's presenting is like, I was there the entire time Stan Lee was, being mistreated by the media, being mistreated by the people that worked with him, which is literally incriminating himself. And he's asking for like $300,000 to help finish his movie. I get it. If you want to release this mainstream, you need money. $300,000. I'd be surprised if that even cuts it. But the fact that he filmed the whole thing knowing what he was doing, waited this long after he died to start asking for money for it, and not like you can go on TikTok and just release it, dude. People see it immediately. The internet will do its thing. It's crazy to me that this guy is asking for so much money to make a documentary where it really looks like he's in the wrong for the abuse, dude. I mean, he's telling a very exhausted Stan Lee, no, you got to do this forever. Like, Stan Lee asks, when is this over? And he's like, never. It's never over. You keep going until you die. To him, it probably sounded inspirational, like, hey, you inspired me, I'm going to help you inspire everybody else. But you can't just come out, this far down the road and be like, oh yeah, he was actually abused and mistreated and he was just a tired old man. Like, you were the one taking him everywhere.
Yeah.
Just don't take him in the first place. And if you have all of this footage, just post it on the internet, dude.
Yeah, honestly, somebody like that. If that's really how the route you want to go with it, like, why not?
And it's good that we're talking about Marvel and everything, because I really wanted to share my thoughts on that. I went down the whole rabbit hole the other week, and yeah, it's terrible, and I don't know what his intentions really are, but just from how it looks, he's asking for money for something that he could have very easily exposed years ago. Yeah.
Jeez. All right, so to transition back into what we were originally talking about, I don't even remember. But I want to shit on some actors.
There's some bad actors out there.
There's
Everybody
some bad
too,
actors out there.
Yeah.
There's some really bad actors out there.
Top of the line, we can all talk about The Rock.
Oh, God.
Got casted in a Scorsese movie, and the internet definitely did their due diligence with that.
Yeah. I'm good on the bald-headed 6'9" Jack dude in all my serious movies.
And of course, Santa Claus has a bodyguard.
Oh yeah,
like with Red One.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, we took Santa Claus, but let's give him The Rock. And guess what? That movie did horrible.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I remember
because he sucks.
I remember him saying too. He was watching Oppenheimer at Nolan's theater, and he was like, "Oh, if we had Red One in this same capacity, it'd be game over."
Oh, game over!
Yeah, Red One is going to be astronomically better than Oppenheimer just because it's an IMAX or something, dude.
Dude, The Rock sucks, man.
It came out on fucking Netflix. Yeah.
Dude, the only guy that successfully can transition from wrestling to acting is John Cena. Man.
No, Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
Can't forget about him. He's
John's
done a great job.
Hey,
yeah.
John Cena's inspirational. The Rock is just a douchebag.
Yeah. John Cena's been hilarious too.
He looks like an overgrown Shrek.
Dave Bautista?
No.
Or John Cena?
No, not John Cena. The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. Oh, yeah. No, I totally see that. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't played Shrek yet.
I'm surprised he hasn't either.
I mean, it'd be criminal to trade out Mike Myers, but yeah. The Rock will just get handed at anything these days, God. And, I mean, stretching back to 2009, man. I remember seeing Race to Witch Mountain with the chick who played Violet Beauregard and Johnny Depp's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Alexander Ludwig, who is Kato from Hunger Games. That was supposed to be his big break. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I saw that movie and I was like, hell yeah, aliens. I love it. And The Rock is just, you know, it's like 2009, and that's where I feel like we saw The Rock, you know. He's not even playing a football player like he did in like The Game Plan, or he was in the Doom movie. He's just playing The Rock at this point. He has no purpose other than to be The Rock.
Even Black Adam, he was just The Rock.
I didn't even see that movie.
That movie sucks.
Yeah.
The movie honestly sucks.
Yeah. I literally wrote a review on Letterboxd of that movie just to make sure my italicized worked. Because you have to, like, code it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I posted it, I saw it worked, and I was like, all right, that's all I needed this movie.
Yeah. You know who also sucks? Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell is...
I think he sucks at acting. I think all the movies except Top Gun Maverick.
Dude, watch Everybody Wants Some. That's the one movie that I actually was like entertained to see him in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a good movie, and it's Richard Linklater who did Dazed and Confused. It's a very similar kind of vibe,
like
plot.
70s, 80s vibe.
Yeah, it's this 70s, it's 70s baseball team in college. So it's Animal House and Dazed and Confused. It's really good, and he's fun to watch in it. But he's not the star of it. You know, he's just a side character. And I think that's what Glenn Powell should be in his prime.
Well,
I'm tired of seeing him as the lead. You know,
I'm real sick of it. I liked when he got his head bashed into a keyboard by Tom Hanks, though.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
That would be hilarious if Tom Hanks did it.
Tom Hardy.
I remember reading that it was something personal about it too. Like Tom Hardy just hated Glenn Powell. I mean, Glenn Powell's in 13 seconds of that movie. I don't know if they ever really got to know one another, but I was very satisfied later knowing who Glenn Powell was, seeing Bane bash his head into the desk. Yeah, it's great. And like him as what I was saying, a side character. That's great. I think he can really do that, especially with movies like Top Gun Maverick. He was fine. He didn't annoy me that much, but
no, he didn't annoy me that much.
You watch Hitman. I was just like, it's just not that good of a movie.
No,
and quite frankly, Glenn Powell is way more annoying than he is like persuading me that he's this character.
Yeah, honestly, I don't like. He's definitely a plant actor.
Yeah,
he's a good-looking guy, and yes, he's had some mild success, but like then you get
he's had great success, which is why it's so annoying.
Well, I'm saying mild success in the way like I feel like that we're not the only people here that are like, what is this guy doing in so many movies? Because he's really not that good.
No, he's not.
He shouldn't be an A-list celebrity.
No. He shouldn't be an expensive celebrity either.
No, he shouldn't be. And like the Anybody But You with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
Again, just a terrible rom-com.
Yeah.
Where it's just mid as all hell. And just goes nowhere, gets nothing done. And it's just a thirst trap for both genders.
He's this 35-year-old who's acting like a fuckboy in it, like it's okay, you put Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell together, and the reason this movie's so heavily promoted partly is because there's this scandal that they were sleeping with each other, making it, and on the press tour and everything. People wanted to see that chemistry. Okay, great. Does that make either of them a good actor? You think people thought McConaughey was a great actor after How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? No, dude. No. I mean, McConaughey has a very similar arc, I would say. I think Glenn Powell, with enough practice and keeps doing it and kind of humbles himself a little bit, he could for sure.
I could see him kind of being like a future Guy Pearce in a way where like he, again, as he gets older and has some like future roles as an older actor, like literally he's physically older.
And he's
in
his mid-30s.
Like he could play. I could see him playing like some kind of old cop or something like that in some way, but like
gotta be a lot older for that.
Yeah, but like nothing really spectacular for him stands out for me.
The movies that he's been the lead in that I've seen, and my girlfriend makes fun of me a lot for this. I have not seen Scream Queens, and she really likes him in that movie or show. I don't even know what it is, but she defends him on that. But she agrees, like, yeah, he's he's just annoying to see as a lead character because he's not a lead yet, dude. I've seen Hitman and Twisters, and I'm just so annoyed by his presence.
He sucks.
This might just be like subjective or something, but dude, I feel like if I'm not convinced, then the movie's not good for me. You know?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of Glenn Powell wearing a cowboy hat and this like totally skin tight flannel and jeans, and he's like the world's greatest storm chaser in the world. Like, shut up. Bill Paxton was one of the greatest, but he was humble about it, you know? And Bill Paxton was, if you look at his roles, he just never seemed that humble. He was a loudmouth. He wanted to be center of attention. With Twister, a movie they definitely did not need to make a sequel off of, but put 2 Twisters in it now. Twisters. You know, they're trying to trademark Bill Paxton by adding Glenn Powell, and he's this masculine, you know, good-looking dude for the time that he's in, and he's the greatest in the world, right? You know, I forget what exactly movie, but there was a movie I saw that like kind of started this trend, like, oh, you know, they're retired or something, or they haven't killed anybody in 20 years, but they're the best at it, you know, like there's nobody else we can go to but him. That is just what Glenn Powell feels like to me. He's not doing anything for this badass masculine role that we're trying to fill.
No, man, there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I kind of forget. But it involves how bad Glenn Powell is. Well, I guess a side note I want to make is it seems like the rom-com baton has been passed from Hugh Grant to Matthew McConaughey to Ryan Reynolds to...
That's a good follow-up, yeah.
To maybe...
Ryan Gosling, dude. Put him in there, too.
To maybe... to maybe probably Ryan...
Well, Glenn Powell, I mean, he's been in what feels like the first rom-com in forever, too, with Anyone But You.
Well, he had... I mean, Hitman is a rom-com, too.
Yeah, I guess. It's
but,
obviously this character study or something, and you're supposed to see so many different sides of Glenn Powell and why he can act so many different ways, dude. No, I mean... Okay, yeah, he plays like a...
Yeah, he sucks.
He plays a woman in one life or something, and then plays an old guy. Whatever it is, it's just... It's just trying to fill him in as he can do everything.
Yeah.
You know? And sure. In that capacity, sure. Is the guy an Oscar caliber actor right now? No. And there are so many actors that we should be praising for their role in the industry right now than fucking Glenn Powell, dude.
No, he can lick my balls.
He gets more popularity right now than I would say Miles Teller.
Miles Teller was a little bit of a playing actor, but I think he's a way better actor.
And he's done so much, I would say. Even with Fantastic Four, he can play Reed Richards, you know? He can be in a superhero movie. He's in War Dogs. He's in Whiplash, dude. I mean, that's his best performance.
Well, that's the one I was going to say. Like, that's personally, he's I think what separates him from, like, the average, like, younger male actor. Like, good-looking male actors.
Right.
Like, his very good, strong performances in emotionally deep movies. Not these very shallow, poorly written, just...
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I guess it's tough to say, like, low production value, but, like, I mean, granted, rom-coms are generally pretty cheap to make.
Yeah.
And then they usually did well. Yeah. That's, like, a big thing for rom-coms, is they were always cheap, and then they did well in the box office because they had a large target audience.
Well, and if a couple goes to see them, that's 2 tickets you just sold, too. Man.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's partly... why these rom-coms keep coming out, but I feel like the whole genre of it is died.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like now they're all cringy and tacky and cheesy. When
they don't even get made anymore. I feel like I mean,
at least not a decent one.
Yeah, no, I feel like I haven't seen a rom-com. There was this movie Sanctuary that I think Neon did with Margaret Qualley and I don't remember the other actor, and it was this, like, thriller rom-com. So, obviously, rom-coms are taking a darker route, I would say.
Because, again...
mixing with the horror thriller genre. But,
people are done with the just surface level base, like two people falling in love over some hatred before that they have for each other, and then they all of a sudden it's like, oh, like they've liked each other the whole time. Yeah. Like,
I feel too like it's not something that just happened. I mean, we've been watching Marvel movies since we were 8, dude. When the MCU really started, that hasn't died down. Clearly, I mean, Brave New World is one of the highest grossing movies right now, and even though last weekend was terrible.
And it has one of the worst ratings of Marvel movies of all time, up there with Ant-Man, Quantumania,
and we cannot forget about Madam Web, dude.
Madam Web,
what a terrible movie!
God, terrible.
Sydney Sweeney too.
Again, dude. You suck.
You are really good in Euphoria. You really understood what you were doing there. You knew how to play it perfectly. But goddamn, put some clothes on too, and the attraction to Sydney Sweeney is just insanity right now.
It's like
we are giving actresses money for showing off on the red carpet, or getting involved in a scandal with your coworker.
Like, is that really what you want to be popular for? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I guess sex sells depending on who you're talking to and who the actor and actress are.
Most people that will pay money, yes, I would say sex sells for sure. Yeah.
And especially the creepy audiences out there, and guys that alone go to the movie theater and do God knows what. But again,
thank God movie theaters are packed right now, so no room for that.
Thank God. But again, plant actors and actresses that just suck, that just aren't strong in their acting roles with surface level storytelling, like it's poor direction. Mm-hmm. Studios are just like, oh, we haven't done a rom-com in a while. Let's throw one out
back.
There. Yeah, Neon to me is like, we're just gonna keep doing these slasher horror movies because they seem to be popular, and honestly, they probably just like doing them. Yeah, I think that Neon, and again, I'll glaze Neon a little bit more, dude. I think Neon is going to kill it. I think now is the right time to eventually break in to all that.
They're going to win an Oscar at some point. They went Anora. Holy shit, I'm very stupid.
Neon's killing it.
Yeah.
Neon's killing
Anora
it.
just annihilated it, yeah. There's like two things I want to talk about now. It's like, I think when an actor can understand whatever the director or producer's vision is and like stay with that. Example, Miles Teller with Whiplash. He had a very intense script that he had to stick to, and he had to be that character so that he could absorb it all. Someone like Glenn Powell, I would love to see Glenn Powell try to do that sort of role that Miles Teller did in Whiplash, and get screamed at or something, and not just show off his six-pack or his good looks and have his nice perky white smile. And that's why I think Miles Teller has had such a successful career, because he's worked with so many different filmmakers at this point. He's done so many different genres, and he has been fairly humble through all of it. He's done some really bad movies, and that sucks for an actor. I think it's a learning lesson. For everybody, know who you get involved with.
Yeah, and
know what movie you're making,
and read the script.
Right. If you want money and everything, that's fine. But you have to face the backlash that you might get off of that. The Rock, for example, right? He obviously doesn't have a care in the world about.
Well, yeah, and he makes money hand over fist. So exactly, he was
the highest paid actor for like 5 years or something.
Like why? Yeah. Like again, why?
Yeah.
Like again, dude, he's just
he's a very talented wrestler or WWE wrestler.
No, and even at that point, like he was just the reason people liked him is because he put on a show, and he put on a show for wrestling because he was a bigger, just jacked dude that was entertaining to the audience, and he would do the whole showboating thing, and it worked for him, and it works for his character. Like again, he's the biggest dude in the room, all the time.
Yeah,
like.
Watch any Fast and Furious movie. Nobody is bigger than The Rock in that movie.
Yeah. And
Vin Diesel's like a midget compared to him.
Yeah. But they're throwing Vin Diesel over a highway, jumping cars.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about the Fast and Furious franchise, too. Nobody in that movie is a plant. They all started pretty much from day
Paul
one.
Walker was the best one.
Other than The Rock. I don't think The Rock came in until the fifth movie.
And again,
or fourth movie.
sucks.
Fifth movie, yeah.
Sucks.
No, and it's like he's there to be The Rock. What role does he have other than fighting with Jason Statham? You know, he's got beef. They made a whole spin-off movie off of just those two guys, which, you know, Jason Statham's a bad guy for, you know, 3 movies or something like that. The Rock is only in 3 movies. But they're like, oh, Jason Statham sells, and he's got a movie coming out now that's made by the same guys that made The Beekeeper.
Yeah, I think Jason Statham is another. I think he's a good actor, but I think the movies he picks are terrible.
When he's in a Guy Ritchie movie, dude, he is unstoppable, and it's like Leo working with Scorsese, man.
Yeah, it's works.
Great acting. The script is good for him. There's actually a level of depth to him, but he's in a movie like The Beekeeper where he plays a retired, you know, Secret Service agent, and he's beekeeping, and he incorporates that into how he kills people. And he's doing a new movie now, made by the same people. It's called Handyman or something like that.
They probably signed him on for a series.
Well, yeah,
of
and
like
I imagine there's a
movies.
contract involved with that. But
they probably gave him $25 million for 3 movies.
He doesn't have to method act at all. He doesn't have to prep at all. He just can show up, give the audience, you know, a very entertaining movie, and walk away with a big old check.
No, and he willingly became a meme for X amount of money.
Yeah.
Like,
he's had his run. He's had a good career too, you know? Like, yeah. I don't like hate these actors because of what they're doing, you know? I personally think like the Jack Nicholson route, where you have, you know, one of the longest careers ever, one of the best careers ever. Jack Nicholson has got to be in the upper echelon of best actors of all time. And then there's a certain point where you're just like, I'm done. This is a job, you know. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not chasing anything. I've already got 3 Oscars. Daniel Day-Lewis, another good example. He's got 2 or 3, something like that.
Lincoln and
he's got enough.
Lincoln
and My Left Foot. No, he's got 3. My Left Foot, Lincoln, and There Will Be Blood. Yeah,
okay.
He's got 3 Oscars, and that's a span of 20 years, something like that. Not even. And then he was kind of done after that. You know?
Yeah,
that's why he's one of the greatest actors. Yeah, be like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, be like Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, there's so many Leo movies out there where you could just imitate the whole thing, and you'll be better than you are by just being Glenn Powell. You know, just don't be Leo because you're not going to come close. But
don't try and be Leo. Yeah. But we'll wrap it up here.
This has been fun. Yeah.
This is always fun. We do like to shit on movies and actors that suck. But we also love talking about movies that kick ass and are worth to go see. Again, support your local theaters. It's a huge problem. Sean Baker made it relevant in his Oscar speech. And it really is. It's important to us. It's important to your community. And it's important to filmmaking and future filmmakers.
And, but no, keep going.
We were going to go see one of my high school friends, Ross Mitchell, is coming out with a movie here in Columbus. It's actually, I believe his dad is also an executive producer on it. But we're going to go see that. And again, it's just being shown in a small theater. And it's just a movie that was made locally. And we're going to go support it. And I would love to also have him on the podcast and hear about his whole experience. So if you guys want to see that, let us know down below as well. If you want us to talk to a local filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, we're really hoping to have people on here too. We love talking with each other, and you know, talking about movies is something we've done for so long now, and it's really great to have an outlet, even if you know everybody has their own opinion on it. This is what's great about films. You know, you get to interpret it any way you want, and however it attaches itself emotionally to you is what makes it so great, man. Yeah,
it really does. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. We're the Cinemadix. I'm Nick.
I'm Ryan.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, go see a movie this weekend.
Yep, and let us know. Which movie did you see? And what movies do you like? What movies do you not like? And let us know, did you agree with our hot takes? Or are we just couple idiots.
Yeah, are we a couple idiots? Let us know what you want to talk about. We'll form an opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, guys. We'll see you.